Welcome to the Your Message Received podcast. And now, taking your message to the finish line, your host, John Duffin.
Hey folks, John Duffin here with Duffin Media. Welcome back to another episode of Your Message Received. Your Message Received is the home, the platform, the podcast to help you find your best, most true, authentic business voice. Hell, find your most authentic voice. Get what you want, find what you need, improve your results, find the person of your dream, make billions of dollars, have tons of friends. I think I can guarantee the last one. I don't think I can guarantee the two before, but we're working on all of that. And so just stay with us and hopefully we get to hit every one of those goals. And the way that we get to do that, in addition to continuing to come at you with content on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartMedia, YouTube now, visually, if you're watching us, is to bring people on who walk the walk. And I'm telling you today, I'm very, very excited for this. It is a duo. And I found out, folks, we are all privy to the first ever joint podcast interview with my business colleagues, my friends, Josh Buchter, Beth Williams. Folks, welcome both to the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, John.
Good to be here, Mr. Duffin.
Yes.
Thank you for having us.
So, folks, Josh has joined me before, and Beth, I finally got to corral Beth to show up and do this, and I couldn't be happier about this. So that you know, it's not a memory test. Josh and Beth both are co-partner of Wolf of Broad Street events. Real producers, Philadelphia, Bucks County, publisher, co-publisher, CEO, COO. It's a lot. It's a lot. I've had the privilege of knowing Josh and Beth through most of those things, but it was the events that got me rolling first. I knew Josh. I was grateful that I got hired to show up at an event, and then I got to meet Beth. So Beth, first question right off the bat, what would you say when you're working with Josh, what would be a couple of attributes that you would say that you see in Josh? And I'm curious as to, have they always been the case, or have you seen an evolution in regards to these attributes?
I mean, when I first laid eyes on Josh, like literally laid eyes, I could just see someone that's like always determined, motivated, and focused on like not just an end goal, but a goal. Like this man has so many aspirations and dreams and goals, but you know he's focused, he's ready to attack it head on and do what he does in the best way that he can do it. So I see this, and it's always like an upgoing arrow with him every day. It's like he's always better than the version of himself the day before. It's just constant, like it's amazing. And your motivation and your integrity just completely wow me every day. So I have to say, like, that's a Josh that I see every day.
Thank you.
And let me see if I got that right. From the moment you laid eyes on Josh, you saw all that. I think you're also, in addition to being one of the coolest people that I've ever encountered, you're also clairvoyant. You're obviously visionary. I love that. Josh, what are some, like, if you choose to go to the first time you laid eyes on Beth, great. But I was going to say, what are some of the attributes that you have seen as to thoughts in terms of Beth as a person, Beth as a partner and a colleague?
Beth is a spitfire. She's strong. She's tough. You know, she's petite, but she's super, strong, and just such a powerful force to be reckoned with. And you want to stay on Beth's good side. So I do my best to do that. It sounds like it. It's good. But yeah, she's not the submissive type or one to let you walk all over her or anything like that. And that's something that helps me stay on my toes.
Right.
And We work well together. I'm more of a laid back, quiet guy, you know. First impressions, Beth is very outgoing and, you know, personable and friendly and talk to everybody. I'm not, I can be like that, but that's not, you know, me every day. So she deals with me. It's not easy to deal with me, you know, like there's a lot going on at any given time, and we're always out and about, and you know, um in front of crowds and with other people and working on different campaigns and initiatives, and she's built for it, which is very rare to find. So I think we make a good team and couple.
I think all of that I love every bit of that. And folks, like I said, I've had the privilege of knowing both, but I knew Josh first. And in terms of just the timing and what have you, I'll ask you both. I had said to Beth earlier, like I'll throw in the one gratuitous question early in the how did you meet and what was it like? And rather than turn this into a love connection episode, I'll get that in first and foremost because I think it is interesting.
Oh man, where do we begin? Okay, so
it all started at Patty's, Old City, Philadelphia.
Yes, the Always Sunny bar, if you're not familiar with, the show was
Random
actually
or planned?
So I started working down in Old City right after college, a little bit after, like 2019. I worked at Race Street Cafe at Second and Race.
Sure.
And there was a pub that's a couple doors down. It's Patty's Pub, Old City, the original Patty's Pub, which is, like I said, based off the show of Always Sunny. So I would go in there after work, you know, December 3rd, then COVID hit, and it was like very, like, you know, silent. Businesses weren't open, but, you know, if you wanted to stop by and just grab it. So one night I'm in there, and there's 3 people in there, including the bartender. And there's someone playing music. You know, when you're at a bar, like there's a jukebox, like you're always curious, like who's playing music if you didn't put money in. I'm hearing some really good, like just vibing out. I get done work, I'm like, I had a stressful day because no customers because of COVID, and I'm like, wow, who's playing this beat? And I look down the bar and I see this gentleman, this bald gentleman by the jukebox. He's got like his computer, his phone, his Heineken. And I'm like, yeah, it's definitely him. I'm like, it's definitely him playing this music. I'm like, okay. So like, I'm listening more into, and I finally, like, I'm going to get up and just say hi. So I get up and I say hi, and I finally meet Josh in the flesh. And it was just like a brief conversation. And then like over time, I kept seeing him because he lived in the neighborhood. I was working down there. And it was just like, I look down and get done work, and there's this guy playing such good music, and he's got like his laptop, he's working, so he's focused. He's not like chatting it up or doing it. He's like, I'm like, all right, what's going on? So it's been a journey. I mean, Josh is one to never forget someone, and our very first date, we talked for hours, and I got to know this Broad Street. You know, he's got this title that he's carried, he's got this community, and like all I could see was I'm sitting across the table from Josh. And never forgot one thing. That night we talked for hours, and he took me to all the places I always said I wanted to go: New Orleans, Vegas. I mean, he's showed me the world, Thailand. We've been to St. Martin, Saba together. So he is one of a kind, I feel like. And I met him in a pub.
So what could be better? Josh, do you think you would have had the nerve to ask if it didn't happen?
Of course. But she beat me to it.
I love that. I'm not that gutsy. That's why I'm asking. You know what I mean?
You can tell when you accidentally make eye contact and whatnot, you know what I mean? But the funny thing is, and the universe is wild, my godmother, Kathy Kelly, her daughter, Katie, went to school with Beth, and Beth used to ride in my godmother's car on different, you know, outings and stay over their house.
And it was weird. It was like we just had like this universal connection. That
my mom grew up with Kathy Kelly. They're best friends, and you know, maybe my mom knew Beth before I did some way across the. It just happened.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
You know.
That makes me happy. And we're absolutely going to unpack the travel part that you talk about. That's a big deal to me in terms of your vision. But I wanted to ask you first, when did you both realize that you would be suitable business partners? How long did it take to be like, you know what? Maybe we should add this to the collection of.
Beth was just like so hands-on and active in my day-to-day operations. And, it's crazy. Like a lot of couples want to date a couple years before they move in with one another, but she was spending so much time at my place that within a year, right? About a year, she was moved in.
And I was still working down here. I was still working at Ray Street, but I was always so interested in what Josh did. Real producers immediately got my attention, just seeing like Josh's everyday activity. I'm like, let me just help. So I feel like I was always, even when I was working still a full-time job, I was still helping him, and then departed ways with my other job. And I was like, you know what? Let's just do this full time. And then I don't know. I think that's where we're pretty much at. And it's never been a decision I regretted.
She was willing to take the leap. It's hard to, put down a, full-time job that you used to. You can always pick up a bartending or a serving job, and she's great at hospitality. So we always, I don't know. We're low-key risk takers, and we want to see, we want to take advantage of every day the best we possibly can. And we know we're going to be, good regardless. But just like I couldn't do it without Beth, and I think, having a partner and a better half is super important if you expect to get anywhere. Because I could have, stayed not stagnant, but you need a partner. You need somebody with you. And crazy enough, she's my partner in business and life, which is super hard to find, which I understand. We explain that to people all the time.
So I love that you used an expression, low-key risk takers. I find because there's a million like parts that to me cross wires with the expression, but it really fits the both of you. I was going to say, I was thinking of a couple of things that it was like one of the things I thought about was, Josh, you were doing the business, and Beth, you could see that there was room for growth and opportunity for you to. But what I would think would be hard, and I want to know how you were able to pull it off, which is this. Rather than creating something organic that was new for both of you, you went into an existing situation, so to speak. I guess the question is, how did you make it yours?
Yeah. Well, that's actually a great question, John. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I want to say, so in the beginning, I was helping him more on like the social media side, like the engaging, like, how to do this, how to do that. And, I have a background, I graduated from Westchester with a communications degree. I have a double minor in journalism and communications broadcasting. So I always felt it easier for me to like, I'm easy to talk with people, to understand. I can't necessarily like I read people, but I think that I kind of get a grasp on like how a person reacts, how they're this and that third. So I looked at what he was doing and seeing, Josh is amazing at the events, amazing at pulling in clients, talking to people, being a very personal person, but there's only one Josh. So, you have to, when you have a company, you have to make sure that everyone's taken care of in that same aspect that they're dealing with Josh. I saw it as, hey, let me help you do this. That way everyone feels like the same amount of like, you're getting my attention. So I deal with a big part of the client relations, I know how to deal with our clients, our current clients, prospective clients, agents. I love the part of talking with the agents and getting them set up, because it's like, I want to highlight your success for free. There's nothing I'm asking you, just maybe 5 minutes of your time to talk to me. And it's great because now people can acknowledge, oh, it's Josh and Beth. I don't have to just like wait in line to get in touch with Josh. Josh is a busy guy and he won't always answer his phone, always. But, that automate, delegate kind of work, it's like,
correct.
Hey, let me help you out. So it kind of didn't really, I think it was like a little easy transition. There were moments where it's kind of like, oh my gosh, can I do this? Like, I didn't know much about the real estate world. Now I do, but at the time I'm like, oh, do I need to like know this, that, and the third? He's like, no, just be you. And I think I've always just been me through this whole thing. So
I would think that you didn't need to be one more person, at least then. As you said, now I do know, and I see it feel it and know that. But I would think it's more than refreshing, because they don't need one more person that understands GCIs or whatever. And I don't mean to discount. I am a licensed real estate agent, folks, by the way. So I'm not dismissing it. But what I'm saying, what they often don't know is the part. You're a dual with broadcasting, communications, and that sort of thing. And that's one of the things that I feel like you could offer, just the marketing, and you did, and making people comfortable so that they would drop their guard a little bit. And I think that's really a big deal. Josh, similar question to you, which is, from your vantage point, was it easy or difficult? We talk about delegating. Was it easy or difficult to let go in terms of some of that stuff? Or were you just really appreciative of the help?
It wasn't necessarily easy, and it didn't happen like a light switch. It was very gradual, and she kept just proving herself in different ways, tasks, especially without me even have to ask for certain things, like not an assistant. That's crazy, but what I'm saying is, like, if you can imagine just somebody who will monitor your emails and put the important stuff to the top and prioritize different things, and just make it so that my life and business was that much more efficient. It was just like a no-brainer eventually to, make it a partnership, and just build this thing out together. Just having a fresh set of eyes and perspectives on things, and having a soundboard to bounce things off of, and she'll let me know when I'm maybe looking at something the wrong way, or I'm worrying about something that's not in the now, and and things like that. So it's beyond the administrative stuff and the content coordination and the work with the clients and the agents. It's really the lifestyle piece of the business, which is important to us. We're not corporate people, we're not real estate people, we're marketing and events people, with an evolving business model into new products and service offerings through the Wolf of Broad Street that we're really excited to continue to build out.
I feel like that part to me is why I feel like it's such a big deal to let people know that, because often with partnerships, couples to friends, colleagues, whatever, that there's so many landmines, and it comes off as such a good idea on the surface, but then the difficulties of letting go, the difficulties of trying to find your own space or your own identity. You brought up something, Josh, and I think it's really important, because from, we'll say, the consumer side, and I'll only speak for me, that it's like, I saw Real Producers, Wolf of Broad Street, as your baby, and then I met Beth. And I think I'm grateful that on that day anyway, that I was like awake enough to realize like what was going on. And what was going on, folks, the transparency was this: we were at the Real Producers Great Producers Awards Gala, and it was held at Rivers Casino in Philadelphia, PA, if you're not listening from the Philadelphia area. And it was all big and great, and I got there early, and I'm going to laughingly say almost too early, because I got there thinking we're going to do a sound check and then I'm going to go home. And so I got there like really 3 or 4 hours early, which, I'll speak for me personally, doesn't always work in my favor, because I start playing mind games with myself, and they're never good ones, right? So I am embarrassed. So I had hours to just start playing terrible mind games. The reason that dissipated, and one of the big reasons, was Beth. So I watched Beth literally like check a million boxes. Folks, one of the reasons I shy away from hosting events is because I find them crazy difficult, because it is really a detail game. It's not just a put on your game face and have a party and have a blast and communicate and pal around. It is incredible precision and detail. So I meet Beth that day. I'm supposed to be in a tux several hours later, and I'm schlubbing around, and I look awful. And I'm watching Beth like check out the nameplates and assigning tables and detail stuff, and it's going. So the bad part for me was the sense of it's like, okay, I'm too keyed up. The good part was Beth was there because she always had something for me to do. Hey, would you mind putting these tags on those tables? I'm sharing this because it took the edge off of me, which was desperately needed. But what I got to watch was Beth in action. And you said something, Josh, earlier, that initial sense or feeling of assistant. Well, I sure as hell didn't see that that day. And I feel like the service that you do as business partners is remind people that partnerships can work in equality rather than tiers. And I'm going to say, Beth, did you recall feeling well received as you took the role, as opposed to now where I feel like it's just a given that it's Josh and Beth? How long did it take for you to feel comfortable?
I felt that off the bat. I mean,
Right.
Josh and I, in that aspect, we're hard workers, we're go-getters. So I mean, like anything you have to do, you will see us on the forefront, like doing that work. Like you say that, like it's like that day of our gala, that was our gala, but we were there setting up, doing everything ourselves up until about maybe 40 minutes before everyone came, and then we went home and changed. And it's just like I've always felt well received in that area. Always. I've never had a doubt in my mind. It's never crossed my mind because I know the person I've aligned myself with, the person I am spending my life with, will spend the rest of my life with, is on the same exact type time that I'm on. So I never question that. And the people that we surround ourselves with and work, never felt that. Now, yes, it feels great now to be like, oh my goodness, I'm so proud of you, I'm so happy of you. And I'm like, I never forget ever. This is Josh's baby, And I always tell him, because he's always like, no, it's us. I said, I want you to always know this is what you have built. And I am so proud. Every day I'm proud. And just to be a part of that now, oh my gosh, it's overwhelming. It's great. So I mean, this is one hell of a ride. Excuse me for that. But
I love that. Oh, well, go to say what you want. God almighty, please say what. I love that. And I'm also going to add too that I would love to know if it is teachable how you both keep the disposition during the process. And that to me, is it a teachable skill? Because I'm blown away with the calm humor and ease in which both of you a day of event. And folks, if you're lucky enough that you've shown up at a Wolf of Broad Street event and or a Philadelphia and or Bucks County Real Producers event, then the energy is surreal. The connections, look, the expression connect, elevate, and inspire is great. But I don't even know if those really powerful words do justice to what is going on in there. And I really believe if you were both nerve jobs, like a lot of event people can be, because it's hard as hell, which is why I don't host them, that it's like, how do you pull it off? How do you, are you able to shut this off? You just said something about being, hey, look, the person I intend to spend the rest of my life with, which is quite nice to say, what do you do when it's over? What do you do when you go home?
Relief.
Yeah, I was just saying.
Are you able to shut it off?
Yeah. I mean, it's good that you say those things because it means we're doing a good job, because our guests, our sponsors, our clients, they don't need to see us stressed out and being all nerve-wracked and trying to put it together. Like, a good friend of mine always says, never let them see you sweat. And we live by those words. Definitely stressful. It's definitely, nerve-wracking, and, but after the event goes by, it's a 3-hour event. It goes
Yeah.
by in a flash, but there's months and months and months of preparation. The more time you have to prepare, the better. So a lot of it is that, just if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready type of situation.
And I think it helps too, because we're doing it together. So it's like, I will say event day comes, like event day, and we're both like, whew, it's event day.
Okay.
Maybe we forget to eat. And then like we're checking on each other, like, hey, did you eat? Are you good? We're good. If I'm stressed out in a corner, he's like, breathe. If he's stressed out, like, you breathe, we're good. So it's like we don't let no one see us sweat. And that's great, because we're doing something great.
And we've been blessed to work with great partners and vendors, and
absolutely.
also like catering staff and banquet managers, and leaning on all the different aspects of the operation and the events, the media production companies and photographers and video, and just it's a lot of micromanaging, and I've been known to overdo it with the micromanaging. Sometimes like vendors or the production company will say like, Josh, we know, we got this. We not our first rodeo or anything like that, but it's just like, we do a lot of, crossing T's and dotting I's and delegating and trying to just pull it all together in time for, the event day, which is always a very exciting day.
Yeah.
So I can vouch for, now it's probably a half dozen that I've been a part of, that I've shown up for or been a part of or whatever. Actually, you know what I was thinking before? You just said something. I was going to ask you something instead, which was more of the case where there are people, I don't know if you've ever been to parties where it feels like the people that are hosting the party are doing a magnificent job as it relates to the guests, but are clearly not having any fun and are treating it like, and if you've never been to one of those parties, good. I have, where you feel like they're spectacular in terms of outward, but not great in terms of inward. So when you just said a moment ago, that sense, Beth, you were saying it, and Josh, you concurred, the day of the event, like, ooh, we're here. Okay, this is great. Is that the secret that enables you both to have fun at the event? And if not, what is it? How are you able to do both concurrently?
I mean, we do events, everything from coffee breaks where we buy out coffee shops, our readership out there, to the awards galas. And the coffee breaks are easy. The awards galas and the golf tournaments are super complex. And to have you, John, as our MC and host, and allow us to sit in the front row and soak it all up is just like incredible.
That's such an honor to me. Thank you.
I don't want to be the guy running around trying to, coordinate every little thing and be up on stage and, everything like that. So to have you as part of our family and community with Real Producers in Wolf of Broad Street has been absolutely incredible. And we definitely couldn't do it without you.
I agree 100%.
I'm so over the moon grateful for that. And folks, just so that you know, hey, pro tip, I didn't even ask for that opportunity when I met with Josh at Back to Old City, where apparently all the good and important things happen. I met Josh in Old City too. And so, but it was at the coffee shop and we're there, and I had zero intention of asking to host an MC. I just wanted to contribute somehow and lend my voice somewhere. And that was the part. And I remember saying literally, I think during the conversation when you were talking about the events, and I'm like, well, who introduces you? And that was really all it was. That's all I wanted to know. And it was like, and I thought that was the role. So folks, one of the things that I would share is it's dream bigger, because my role as I saw it in an opportunity was a tiny piece of what Josh is like, oh, I know. And I'm like, wait, what? Here's what I was going to say. You say you sometimes micromanage. You in the past have micromanaged people, but I'm going to share for myself. You did the exact opposite with me. One of the things that I wanted to ask you in regards to traits, and I don't mean me, leave me out, but I was going to say, what are the traits that you look for, both of you, in regards to the people that work with you? Different than clients. What are the traits? What are you looking at or for in regards to things that you can give the trust or whatever it is?
Yeah. I would have to say, like, off the bat in my head,
Mhm.
it would have to be like, I don't know if you can say transparency is a trait, or someone that
Yeah.
I can trust, someone that's
Mhm.
honest. Like,
Yep.
I feel like I need to be surrounded and working with someone I can trust, because that way I know whatever I'm dealing with, you're dealing with it too.
Mhm.
And you can tell me how you're feeling, and we can talk, and we can be honest with each other. I think honesty begins with any good business relationship, in my opinion. So that is something I definitely look for.
Great.
And also the people that I tend to align myself with, I've been watching, I've been watching 6 months or a year before we even have the conversation, so I want to see consistency, passion, authenticity, not something that they're going to, just figure out along the way. I mean, a certain amount of it is figuring it out along the way, but I want somebody that it knows their craft, is all about it, and is doing it without me. So,
Believing in yourself, that's another thing. You have to believe in yourself, because we can believe in you all you want to, but you have to believe in yourself. So
I love the conclusion, folks, of that first event. We're doing a recap afterwards. And I remember saying it, I'm saying it hesitantly to Josh, something to the effect like, I don't know if I told you, but I never really did that before. And I don't know what the hell you thought I was trying to tell you, but I was like I had robbed the cash register. But what you had said to me was really telling, in the sense that, do you remember what you said?
no, remind me.
That's okay. I'll help. What you said to me was, I know. And I never asked you that. In your words, and I never asked you that. I just knew you could. So when you just talked about the sense of seeing people and following people and all that sort of stuff from a professional vantage point, that's such a big deal. Like, I don't know if I know two people that are as buttoned up with details. And one of those details would be pre-screening, not hoping for the best, or you look cool, or you sound cool. And then people aren't showing up or whatever. What would you say has been your favorite event so far? Small, big, coffee, golf, whatever. What's been your favorite that you felt the best about after it was done?
I feel like every event gives me that feeling,
Yeah.
but I have to say, for all the listeners out there, if you've attended any events and haven't, please do, because I have to say, boards galas, both. I mean, they give me a different kind of feeling, because
Got it.
this is an event about you guys. Like, this is about all of you. We have no say in who wins. It is not rigged. You know what I mean? It's like, this is off of the public. This is off your peers.
Nope.
And it's such a good feeling to just watch these agents, they were on our magazine. Yeah, some might care, some might not, but like, they show up. It's a celebration for you guys. And I have to say, the Derby this year, that was one of my favorites, because we haven't really we're tapping into Bucks County, but the Derby really put us on the map. We had agents that were out commingling with other brokerages. Like, it was the best, one of the best, not to mention Robin Kemmer. Shout out to you, because you blessed us with those horses. And I mean, it was just one of the best, of course, because of you, John, as well. I mean,
but I love being there.
I have to say, the Derby, man, the Derby really really makes my heart smile.
Oh, that makes me happy to hear that. Josh, what would you say?
Yeah, I mean, we love a good theme, Great Gatsby,
Mhm.
awards,
Right.
Kentucky Derby
Mhm.
theme. And then we had a special event March of this year. It was a women's empowerment event,
Mhm.
Women's History
Mhm.
Month. There was something different.
Mhm.
We had 8 different breakout rooms with 8 different breakout ambassadors, and each of those ambassadors was prepared to speak on an influential woman in history, from
Mhm.
business, politics to culture, and just give the folks a 5-minute briefing on this woman in history and open it up to select questions and conversations. And I was just walking around with the timer every 10 or 12 minutes. Everybody would get up and then go to the next room. No better way to get people involved and talking and interacting than those little mini
great.
breakout sessions, along with like a happy hour at the end of it. So we look forward to continuing to evolve our events, not just for awards and socials, but more, educational and collaborative things like that. So we're going to continue to work
Yeah.
on those type of
And
things.
especially the networking part.
Yeah,
That's
Mhm.
huge.
it wasn't a big fancy event, but it was one of my favorites, and
That was one
the
of the,
feedback was good.
feedback was great.
Yeah.
I love, so I can speak firsthand of a recent event that took place in Bridesburg. And I look, folks, if you're from Philadelphia, like Bridesburg doesn't get utilized a lot in regards to evening events or whatever. But Bridesburg is great. And in terms of it's, you pulled off an event. And what I was thinking about was, I remember the thought, I turned around at one point and I can remember. So it just got dark, and all the white lights are twinkling like the massive canopy, and there's a bunch of people there. And this is Thursday night, and there's a million other things that are going on, and there's a ton of people under that tent. And I just remember looking back, and you just saw a very, very crowded tent and perfect white lights and all that sort of thing. That it's like the energy is indescribable to me. And you talk about the networking and all that sort of thing. Why do you think people emotionally respond to your events the way they do? Clearly, the way that they do.
It's just something different, something out of the box. It's not your typical business card exchange or network type of
Mhm.
things that folks are used to. We want to have that wow factor. We want to have the music going,
Mhm.
great food.
Mhm.
It's like some drink tickets. The
Oh,
TV trucks usually pull
yeah.
up.
Mhm.
Awesome venue staff, and such a diverse crowd. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Just like people from all walks of life,
Mhm.
all races, all
Mhm.
pronouns,
Mhm.
orientation, everything,
All
all ages.
ages, all, you know what I mean? All cultures. It's,
So it looks like the United Nations when you walk into our
mhm.
events.
Yep.
You know
Yep.
what I mean? Um, we always have new faces. We have a lot of
Mhm.
familiar faces, but every event we have new faces, which means we're doing something right. And there's always opportunities to make new connections and just get to know folks, not just for business, but for just life in general. We're all here in Philly. We're all in Bridesburg on a Thursday night. Could have been
Right.
anywhere else in the world. And just
Mhm.
to make it so that the vibe is there is.
And I think it's a big part of like keeping that community strong.
Yeah.
Really it.
Mhm. I think what I found the most impressive. So I am typically more of the shy type as it goes to as it pertains to going to events. Once I warm up, I'm not gonna. I'm good. I'm fine. But it's the getting there to me that's still, after all these years for me of going to events, that is difficult. Like I just for some reason start getting like very edgy, and the emotion part to me is what I find so unusually powerful with what you both have going on, or what you convey, or what you are bringing. And I think that's what makes it comfortable and easy, is that sense of that you're both able to put a piece of yourselves into this in addition to having you, as you talked about, oh, it's this and it's the clothes and it's the glitz and it's the details and it's the food. And you said, and the music. So Beth, if DJ Johnny wasn't there, does Josh still have really good taste in music?
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
I think it's awesome.
DJ Johnny Stroud knows what I mean. The day before I said, John, before I forget, I want Ibiza club summer vibes for our heat wave happy hour. He said, so you want house music? I'm like, yep, that's what I'm looking for.
He's
and
the
then
best,
he
yes.
curated the perfect,
Shout out
mix for
DJ
us.
Stroud.
But you were that specific.
Mhm.
Ibiza.
He already knows.
Have you been to Ibiza yet?
No, not yet.
Let's talk about where you have been. And then we can talk about where you're going, because this is, to me, folks, it's one of the many reasons I have gravitated to these two is also because the vision extends in different directions. And so the vision extends to business and events and entertainment and hospitality and all that. And it goes to travel too. I like to refer to myself as a present and certainly future digital nomad. And I look at you two and what you've done. Beth, you alluded to earlier, Josh has taken me places, including New Orleans and even everywhere I've wanted to go. Why does travel matter so much to the two of you?
You know what? It's like, okay, I've always wanted to travel. Like before Josh, to the furthest place I ever went to was Aruba. So I'm like, oh, anyone could say I want to travel the world. Josh is the kind of person where, here it goes back to his goals. It's like he says something, he's going to work towards it. This man has traveled. And when he approached me and said, before Thailand, he's like, let's go to St. Martin. And I'm like, okay, sure. Amazing trip. While we're out there, we fly over to Saba, which is like a smaller neighborhood island. And that was an adventure within itself. And it was crazy. And like, I'm like, okay, we get back. I'm like, that was so cool. And then he goes, let's go to Thailand. I'm like, what? No way. He's like, yes. I'm like, I can't take off work for that long. And my boss is like, yes, you can. Go ahead. I'm like, I don't want to. Like, I was so nervous, but landed over there. I mean, my world changed and my entire perspective of the world and what we do and what others do. And like, I'm like, yes, let's travel. Let's do this. We can be digital nomads and do that. And here we are working towards it very hard. We're working on our travel podcast, travel blogging, not a podcast yet, but like a blogging era. And it's very exciting because I got to see the world and say that. And it's wow. I can't, like, the words don't even come out of my mouth because it's like, wow. And Josh introduced me to that. And it was so incredible. I mean, and he's traveled everywhere. You should, talk about your trips.
I've done some wild solo trips. Done Mexico solo, and I'm not talking about Cancun. Just like La Paz, north of Cabo, taking a 14-hour ferry across the Baja Sea to get to Mazatlan, mainland Mexico. Just really just diving in there. First time I went to Thailand was by myself for 17 days. Our next trip to Southeast Asia is going to be 70 days, 70.
70.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that to me just sounds perfect. The only thing that could make it perfecter would be 75 days or 90 days, or you know what I mean? But how do you take that leap of faith? What is it that like Beth, you just said a moment ago, like you're like, I can't go for that long for how do you free your mind or constraints or whatever it is? How do you do it so that you can feel justified? Sounds like a terrible choice of words, but in a sense that you can hop on the plane.
There's 52 weeks in a year. In the beginning of this year, we had a spreadsheet that outlined all 52 weeks straight down the line, and each week we knew what we were going to do. Not specifically, but that was going to be a sales push week, that was going to be an event week, that was going to be a conference week, that was going to be a travel week. And we have obligations to our partners and our clients. Quarterly events, let's line up these quarterly events for Philly producers, for Bucks County
Right.
road producers, for Broad Street events,
Mhm.
to have it all done by early in the fourth quarter, October 12th. We did our job. We did it to the fullest. And, we stuck to the week by week thing, and not on point every single week. There were some catch ups, there was some
Mhm.
get backs, things like that. But that's the way that we did it, planning and preparation. And, it's like that scene in Carlito's Way when he's just trying to escape and get to Miami and everything's coming at him and he's trying to figure it out. Like when you get to that home stretch,
Mhm.
you start to feel like that. But we're confident that everything's coming together beautifully and we'll be able to take off knowing full well that we gave it our all this year. Get to our passions of traveling and documenting it and getting, busy with YouTube and things like that, just to build up 2024 to take us to new levels. And maybe there won't be 70 days of travel next year, but maybe there'll be more. You never know.
Maybe there's more.
Yeah.
So I think I did the math right. So the flight's October the 12th.
No,
29th.
the 12th is our last big Real Producers event, our 4th annual golf outing, but the flight's the 20th. Yeah.
Oh, fine. Then, oh my God, my math is usually better than that. I was clicking back 70 days and but that's crazy great to me, because I really think, Beth, you alluded to earlier in our conversation, you talked about, look, when you first met with Josh and COVID was going on, I feel like of all of the things that weren't, to say the least, good about that time, one of the great takeaways that you could, if you're going to use the word great, is the sense of freedom that is possible. I feel like I've realized that between digital, between good planning, and what have you, that I didn't have to act quite like the people pleaser that I always was earlier in my life and in my career, and feeling like I was beholden to whatever random phone call was going to come my way about whatever random situation, and I would just have to stop and drop. And I felt like that sense of, it put a sense of freedom that you can make these things happen. I love, Beth, when you talked about like the way that you lit up that first Thailand, changed my life and all that sort of thing. And then Josh, I want to get to you in regards to the solo stuff. But the question I was going to ask you about, what did you see in Thailand that flipped the switch for you? Or what did you feel, I guess is a better way to say it.
Wow. I can start off when I felt down that ground after all the hours of traveling,
Yeah.
I just felt, wow, like I'm here. This is insane. Like I just felt, breathe let your shoulders down. I just felt like, another part of me was like, breathe, relax. And I'm a big, like, I love different cultures. I love food. I love experiencing it all, but being in Southeast Asia in that moment for me was huge. And I could see it in Josh's eyes. Anyone that knows Josh, he's a passionate traveler. I could see it when he was talking to me about it, but I felt it in my own experience. And it was just like, wow, I'm here. Now, while I'm here, yes, this is a trip. It's not just a vacation. It's not a vacation. It was a trip for me. I took it all in, from people, the food, the language barriers, just absolutely, like the scenery, the water, everything was just, I took it all in and I said, I'm not going to go back home and not take this piece of mind, this piece of what it feels like every day. Thailand's known for that. They're happy. They're known for their 13 smiles there. They are known for being genuinely good people. I wanted to take a part of that, knowing like, yes, I've seen this. It is possible to take it back to what, might be my craziness, but might be my world back home. So taking that and knowing that it exists somewhere else, knowing it can exist within myself here, So that is one thing that excites me about traveling, just to know and get to experience different happiness. That's the best way to put it.
I love that. Perfect. The whole point of the show is what we call like the sense of that authentic, the arc of your or our authenticity. That's really what it is. Watching you light up like that, remembering that, and the ability to take it home, it's such a visual and verbal sense of appreciation of what you've got to experience and what you get to do. I find that, to me, that's what I think is one of the most powerful takeaways, your own authenticity. You wonder where it comes from, right? Like, is it start that way? Or like you hear people say, oh, I was always like that or whatever. But I feel like you just described in one way how your own arc of authenticity has evolved to a point where now, like I said, you just take pieces and you make them yours. And I think that's kind of beautiful. So Josh, for you, with the travel dynamic and traveling solo, what's the coolest place you ever saw? What's the coolest experience that you ever had traveling solo, I guess is what I would ask.
I was trained for a scuba diving certification, and I stumbled upon a company that was Dutch owned, and little did I know that I would be the only English, American speaking person on there. It was very interesting dynamic to be, surrounded by folks from, Germany and Holland, Amsterdam, to low key like dangerous type of training, you know what I mean? Like it was one of the biggest challenges that I've ever had. It was a multiple day thing. I'm in Koh Tao, Thailand. It's a beautiful small island focused on diving. I was on a budget, and part of the package for the scuba diving course was a hostel, and it was a little cubby that I was sleeping in, and I'm claustrophobic as it is. So it was just like I didn't even make it through that hostel situation. I had to go find another hotel, and I had a situation the third day, right before I was getting ready to get my certification and everything, where I just couldn't get myself under that water. It was the night before, getting no sleep. They told you not to drink the night before. I had a few beers. Bad idea. I just couldn't catch my breath, and the whole class was under doing their thing, and I was just like, it was a combination of restlessness and just like not directions and everything like that. But luckily, the instructors and the whole group were just so like kind and gracious that took me down by myself and just got through it. And I was like in tears by the end of it, getting my certification, and just throwing myself into a situation solo, not having anybody to like lead on. It's just crazy. So that's something that really, stuck out in my mind, as far as me throwing myself into the fire and figuring it out, and being challenged, but coming out, luckily on top. That just automatically stuck out, because you're in the middle of nowhere. You're about as far away from Philly and your family and friends as possible, and that is just one example.
That's a great one, man, and just the emotion from both of you. May I ask, or is it too soon? The travel blog that you're laying, you're saying it's not a podcast yet, and blah blah blah. Any sort of a preview of what you're thinking?
Okay, well, when we were in New Orleans, there was a sandwich shop we wanted to stop at, and it was called the Turkey and the Wolf. Was the Wolf
and the Turkey?
Wolf and the Turkey. And as everyone knows, here's the wolf, and I'm like, wow, I'm a turkey. So it's like, okay, that's our thing. Just a minute, Wolf and the Turkey is us. So with that being said, related or not related, we're thinking Josh's childhood, nickname is Bucky. He's known as Bucky, right? Or Buck.
Okay.
So we were thinking something along the lines of Beth and Buck elsewhere, because we're always elsewhere.
Yeah.
Or
Beth and Buck travel. Just it's gonna be us two. And like we're like watching so many travel YouTube videos, and there's only a handful of people that are doing it right. And if they can do it, we can do it. And Beth has an amazing voice, and she's doing like voiceovers and stuff, and we're just experimenting with it, trying to figure it out. But that's kind of part of what goes into where we got today, branding Wolf Broad Street. We're finding our way within the travel industry. So And there's just like a ton of opportunities to be even more productive and innovative while we're on the road. Anywhere there's Wi-Fi, we're in business. And I actually feel more productive and creative while on the road, and just having the ability to run platforms remotely, meet with people remotely, show up to the events. That's never going to stop. You know what I mean? But, nobody's going to do it for you. And if you wait for the perfect time, it's never going to happen. So just, being able to have that faith in each other, that we're regardless, plan the best we can, hustle as much as we can. We were just recently blessed with a grant from Comcast. We filled out a grant application for Comcast Rise. They picked 5 cities. Philadelphia was one of them. And they gave 100 grants out to businesses in Philly. Wolf of Broad Street Real Estate Events and Consulting was one of them. And we just got onboarded. There's a monetary grant. There's a technology makeover for new computers and iPads.
Commercial.
There's a 180-day commercial on Comcast you'll be seeing.
Wow.
You're one of the first people we're telling. So
Wow. I'm, from a personal, blown away, happy that they were smart enough to choose the 2 of you. But that is spectacular. Is that how you got your really cool backdrop? And folks, if you're listening, you don't know what I'm talking about. But I was gonna say, is that part of the makeover? Because it's great.
No, we haven't gotten made over yet, but
I like it. I like it, but that is quite an accomplishment and quite a responsibility. So the last thing I want to ask you for now is simply that, well, it's 2. Number 1, which is you're doing this reboot of Wolf of Broad Street. Why? Because it feels like it's going really well. So what is it that you want? What's the evolution?
Yeah, I always say multiple lanes going in the same direction. The networking events aren't going anywhere. The magazines aren't going anywhere.
Right.
Speaking engagements, creative direction, project management, corporate event strategy. We aligned ourselves with a national real estate trainer and public speaker, Scott Einbinder.
Right.
We are helping to scale his speaking business to, from hotel conference centers to sold out theaters, with all the theatrics and fun and humor and entertainment, and most importantly, relevant content for real estate agents. Getting into the speaking circuit nationally is going to be huge for us. Aligning ourselves with more banks like TD Bank, who we have continuously worked with since November of last year in multiple different cities, to be a corporate event strategist and a project management creative direction resource for public speakers, and not to mention all the affiliate marketing options that we'll have within the travel industry, and promotions. We joke about being like the club promoters for real estate events, and we want to do that nationally. We want to do it nationally. What did I miss?
No, you're spot on. I mean, we just want it to be like, what it is right now. You hear Wolf of Broad Street, but we want it to Wolf of Broad Street real estate events. We want it to be like an automatic click. Like, wow. We have to, if you're not there, you got to be there. Like, we are trying to take it to another level, and we're hoping 2024 has that in the cards for us. We're working really hard right now to build this. So the rebranding's here. We do have a new logo that we are loving.
Hey, well, you'll see that as you're lucky enough, folks, to be watching us on YouTube. You get to see it, and it's beautiful. Where's the turkey? I don't see that. I was gonna say.
We'll incorporate that. We'll figure it out how we're gonna do that.
All right, good. Last question for now. Who inspires you? You inspire a lot of people. Who inspires you?
Josh, I'm always gonna tell you inspire me. I tell him this all the time. I mean, you really do. You really do. I see a version of this myself that I've always wanted to be, that was projected on me from my parents. Mom, Dad, Andrea, Chris, you guys have always inspired me. And I see that in you, in my partner. So, I mean.
Yeah, we inspire each other every single
Oh.
day, and the people around us, the stories we hear every single day. Our team
Yes.
inspires us. Our marketing
Yes.
director, Sarah Hawansky, coming
Mhm.
back
Oh,
from
yes,
like a
yes.
near-death stroke and coma experience to be back in action and working with us. And I don't have too many like celebrity people I look up to, or or influencers and things like that. It's kind of just like who I'm surrounding myself
It's
with.
the
John,
everyday person.
you inspire me every single day.
Mm, God,
So
thank you.
yeah,
Folks,
it's all here.
right back at you. It's more, fan sounds too shallow. You are two of my favorite people in the world. The emotion that I talk about, that I feel every single time I'm around you, I root for you, and you make it easy to root for you because you make me feel things that are so authentic and raw and true. And that's the part that makes it such a pleasure. I am honored for both of you. I'm thrilled about all of the good stuff that's going on, and I'm really thrilled that you joined me today. Thank you both. Beth Williams, Josh Buchter, Wolf of Broad Street, Philadelphia, Bucks County Real producers, and a lot more to come.
So much fun.
Thank you both. You're wonderful. Folks, thanks so much for tuning into another episode of Your Message Received. You'll keep finding us on YouTube, iHeartMedia, Google Podcast, Apple's Podcast, anywhere you're getting your podcast, video and audio. We love having you here. Keep speaking true. It ain't always easy. And folks, we will keep coming back to make certain that we're dropping content through your good content through your front door. Have a great rest of the day, all. Thanks for tuning in. Be well. Talk soon. Bye.
And now, making its way across the finish line, Your Message Received has been a production of Duffin Media.